Hello everybody. It has been approximately, I don't know how long, but to kick off Yasuke Productions actually like doing history content again, I present you a series on none other than World War I and the causes of it. So, to begin with, I want to talk about the 19th century, what happened after Napoleon, and then what happened to give us World War I and why it happened. So the first thing that we should talk about is Napoleon and the Napoleonic Wars. So after Napoleon, there was the Congress of Vienna, which established this sort of system of the European balance of power. Now, all the European powers, Austria, England, Russia, Prussia, they didn't want anyone to get really powerful, because if they did, Europe wouldn't be balanced anymore, and then someone would rise up, and then Napoleon too. So they didn't want that, and so they'd come together, which would to be known as the Concert of Europe, so that every time a major European nation would get angry with someone else, they would talk it out, and then some agreement would be made. So there's that in the 19th century, and so until World War I, there was no major wars on the European continent. So I want to shift our attention after that to the Crimean War, which shows, because if you know anything about World War I, you know about the absurd alliances, pretty much that everyone was making alliances up until 1914. So an event that actually shows the absurdity of alliance is the Crimean War. So the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century had pretty much been losing a bunch of its African territories and its influence to these westernized European powers. And most of the Europeans didn't really think of Turkey or the Ottoman Empire as a viable force anymore. They called them the sick man of Europe. So, but there was an even bigger problem of the Russian menace to the east. But Russia was underdeveloped and then had problems, but there was a stigma that, oh, Russia big, Russia bad, pretty much. So instead of like Europeans coming together and not really like doing anything, because Russia wanted to increase their power to the expense of the Ottomans, but the English, or the British and the French, really the two main players, they didn't want Russia to gain more power under this underdeveloped nation, the Ottomans. So what they did was, instead of like, I don't know, being neutral or something, they came to the aid of the Ottomans when Russia was coming into the Black Sea and then wreaking havoc and coming into the Crimea. They pretty much, no, Russia wasn't coming into Crimea. The English and the French, they made a beachhead to pretty much curb Russian influence and show them like what's what. And so, with the Ottomans. And so, like, it was called the conflict of notoriously incompetent international butchery, which, as you know, is kind of ironic concerning that this is like a preface to World War I. But like the Crimean War really had like no reason to happen, and also like the French and the British that died. Yeah, the French and the British, they stopped the fight because of like mounting resentment of the war from their populaces. But yeah, it was just kind of stupid conflict, pretty much. stupid imperialistic European conflict. Okay, and then another reason for World War One was Germany. Now, I don't know if you know this because I'm an American, but most Americans don't really realize that Germany is like new, but technically like HRE and everything, so won't go into the details over there. But yeah, Germany from the time of World War One was about 20 years old, I think, or yeah, because Prussia became Germany, and so that's why it's technically 20 years, but really it was the Prussians, and then they just give themselves another name because they incorporated all the German states. So with that, Germany wanted to flex their guns, and they wanted to show the world that they were the new dog on, or they were the new big bad kid on the block. So to do that, they made a sexy navy. But you know who also has a sexy navy? England, that's right. So the English, they sort of saw this as Germany encroaching on their territory, and they didn't really like that. And so that's like, there's some tension there before 1914. And Germany wanted to be accepted as a major power as well. Like, they got colonies in Africa, but compared to like England and the rest of Europe, they really got like the leftovers from everyone. Well, France got desert, but like the relation, or yeah, how much land they got compared to everyone else was like pretty meager. So Germany felt cheated before that, and they were also like, they were jealous of the French because the French were sort of seen as like the cultural bastion of Europe, and they wanted to be seen as like they wanted to be seen as the cultural bastion of Europe with like Berlin, Brandenburg Gate, and all these things. But yeah, France takes that mantle. And also, the last thing that I want to talk about is weak sovereigns. So in the 19th century, you have men like Otto von Bismarck, you have the Russian Czar of, while the Crimean War is happening, I forget his name, or the Frederick something. And but really their names aren't really important. It's just that they were much better than their successors, such as Kaiser Wilhelm. He had Otto von Bismarck. Like, Otto von Bismarck was a subordinate to the monarchy, and he really championed the monarch, which was kind of ironic because Kaiser Wilhelm Kaiser Wilhelm made him go away from government, and he pretty much wanted to break from Bismarck's policy because he wanted to be seen as like, I can do it. I'm the sovereign. I'm not this weak, feeble monarch or anything. And that was sort of the thing with Nicholas II of Russia. He got Russia. He made the declaration of war when he couldn't have, because he's been told he's like a weak leader and everything. So instead of like thinking about it, pondering it, he just said, "Let's go to war." And then so these are like the leaders that we're talking about for World War One. Even though the King of Belgium, forgot his name at the current moment, but he was actually like better than his predecessor, Leopold II. We all know of Leopold II because of the Belgium Congo. But he and we'll go into this more later, but he I'm reading about the Belgians in the book that I'll show you in a minute. He tried to reorganize the Belgian army and then actually like try and defend Belgium before Germany invaded, but he kind of like got sidelined by his chief of staff and everything. So yeah, we'll go into that, but I hope that I have given you a broad picture of what is going on in the 19th century to show you why World War I happened, and then to show you the powder keg that was about to be explode in World War I. Thanks for watching. Like and comment down below.